All right. Hello and welcome everyone to and good afternoon and welcome to the VIP Student Success Series event, Taming the Money Jungle, sponsored by MidFirst Bank, Money Moments, and also the First Year Success Center at Arizona State University. Before we get started, we are going to drop a link into the chat, and our chat is blowing up with everyone saying hi. So we will definitely allow you to say hi in the chat. Feel free to do that. As with any Zoom meeting, we're going to ask that you make sure that your microphone when you are not speaking is muted. We anticipate a lot of people for today's event, so we want to make sure that everyone can be heard, but feel free to utilize the chat. We are dropping into that chat the attendance form. It is going to be links.asu.edu /money jungle. In order for you to be eligible to receive your $5 coffee gift card and also be eligible for the raffle drawing of one of five $500 scholarships, we need you to submit that form, and we'll drop that into the chat. But we're going to go ahead and get started, and I am excited to introduce someone. So your Safari guide today is Dr. Emily Schwartz. Emily has helped hundreds of college students take control of their money, and now she's ready to help you too. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Emily Schwartz.
Hey everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here with you folks today. You know, this is really inspiring, because here's something that drives me crazy. You know, I work for a bank, right? So MidFirst is the sponsor of this. And so you can imagine, I hear a lot, oh, you know, that's so good that you work for a bank because, you know, young people just don't care about their money and they need so much help. Young people don't care. Are you kidding me? I'm looking at 271 young people right now who said, I care enough to spend an hour learning about this today, and maybe I'll even win some money. That's amazing. That's amazing to me. So kudos to you for showing up today to learn a few things about this crazy money management thing we're all trying to do, right? Before we dig into it, I've got a few people I'd like to introduce. So I have my colleagues at MidFirst on the line here today. We have Lee and Cammie and Jesse and Kevin, so they'll give you a quick little wave. They are helping me out today. If you have a financial question that you just, I can't wait till the end, you know, please definitely put those questions in the chat as we're going. They will be my little co-Safari guides today and can help jump in and answer any of those if I'm not able to get to them, because there are so many of you, which is amazing. All right, so let's, with that, let's jump in and we will get started on taming the money jungle. All right, here's why I think this is needed. Here's why I think this is needed today. We love to talk about the path to financial wellness, don't we? We love it. We love to talk about the path to financial freedom, the path to budgeting, the path to, we love our path metaphor, okay, in, you know, in higher education. But I remember being a senior in high school and thinking, okay, the path, cool. There's like rainbows and unicorns on it. Just do the things and you're going to be fine with money. And then I remember getting to college and getting a job and managing scholarships and managing a budget. And I was like, oh, well, I'm sorry, where are the unicorns? I was promised unicorns. This feels intense, you know? And there's like lions and scary stuff, because you start to feel the magnitude over the decisions that you're making. And that's kind of what I want to, you know, show to you, is that if you are a little bit stressed about money, I actually want you to pat yourself on the back, because the fact that you're ever a little bit stressed about money shows me that you understand the magnitude of these financial decisions that you're making. If you've got people who are like, whatever, money, like, I'm concerned for them. Do you know what I mean? So that, just to kind of flip that script a little bit, the fact that your concerns means you take it seriously, and you know that you recognize it's a big thing. So what do we do? What do we do about it? How do we make it good? Well, let's back up. Let's back up 10 steps for a second, okay? I want you to think right now about financial advice that you have received in your life. Like, maybe it was from your parents, maybe it was from a professor, maybe it was from, I don't know, a friend. I want you to just really quick, you know, type maybe one word in the chat or a sentence in the chat of just what is just some advice you've heard before. okay? And I expect this chat to blow up, so don't disappoint me, okay? So here's some words I'm seeing. Credit, save, 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 save with exclamation points. Excellent. Credit, bonds, invest young, build credit, save with many exclamation points. You guys, so true, okay? Invest 20% of your paycheck, all these things. Okay, so look at, this is what's really cool. This is why I'm kind of glad this is happening in rapid fire. If you're looking at this, nothing on here that you folks are saying is like, whoa, what? Do you know what I mean? It's not like someone says, well, Emily, you know what you got to do? You got to save money. Oh, really? Well, I didn't think about that. Right, we all kind of know what to do. It's how do you do it? You know what I mean? Like, we all know the things. And guys, when things are going well, like when this is your life, when you're making money and spending money, it's easy to do the things you're supposed to do. It's difficult to manage money when one thing goes wrong. And that's what we need to be prepared for, right? It's not that like, oh, you know, everything's great. And so I'm just going to, you know, keep managing my money. It's what do we do when something goes wrong? So I'll tell you what my thing that went wrong was. When I went to school, my freshman year, I was told to don't get a car. Don't get a car in college because Emily, you're not going to need one with your situation. So just that's going to be a waste of money for you. So I was like, okay. So I got my little bike. Okay. And some of my friends had cars and they made such fun of me. Okay. Because I lived way off campus, you know, and it would have been easier for me to drive, but I was like riding my little bike. It had a bell, guys. It was fantastic. Ding, ding. Okay. So I'm riding my bike. Well, one day I come downstairs and my bike was stolen. Okay. Just like straight up bolt cut, stolen. And I remember just feeling so deflated. I was like, no, I'm sorry. No, 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 no. Maybe you didn't see. I did the things right. I didn't buy the car. I had the bike. I'm saving money. Why would you steal it? Why would you steal my money saving thing? And I felt so deflated because if I was doing the things right, why did this happen? And you know who swooped in to make super fun of me? Yeah, you guessed it. My friends with the cars. All right. Because they were like, oh, someone stole your little bike. No one stole my car. Ha 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 ha. And I'm like, are you my friends? Like, what is this? Okay, some support system I'm having right now, right? And then, because that's when like the YOLO attitude swoops in, okay? You guys have any YOLO friends, okay? Like not the nice YOLO friends, like the oppressive YOLO friends. You know what I'm talking about. Oh my gosh, maybe it's you. Oh no, if you're hearing yourself in what I'm saying, I don't know what to tell you, okay? But the YOLO friends who are like, come on, just go into debt. Who cares? Pay it off later. Just have the fun now. And then maybe you start thinking, yeah, well, my bike got stolen, so you're right. Who cares? YOLO. Just, go into debt, figure it out later. But then YOLO turns into FOMO, fear of missing out. Because once you wholeheartedly embrace the YOLO philosophy, then it's like, well, I gotta live all the things. I can't miss out on anything. And then pretty soon you start watching all your friends and what they're doing. And folks, here's the deal, okay? YOLO leads to FOMO, leads to NOMO, as in no more money, like you don't have it anymore, okay? And it's a vicious cycle. We don't start out that way. It's that something goes wrong and then it throws off our whole thing. So yeah, and hey, feel free to screenshot this cycle and send it to whoever in your life needs to see it, okay? Because I know there's probably somebody that might need to see this. So what do we do about the cycle? What do we do about the cycle? Well, folks, I've got a backpack full of supplies for you, okay? Because it's a jungle out there, but all we got to do is be prepared to manage it, and we can do it. So what is in my backpack of tools for you? Let's look. The number one thing is a map, okay? Number one thing in your toolbox is a map. Here's why the map is important. I hear people say all the time, they say, oh, Emily, oh, I'm so glad that you help people with their finances. Could you help me? I want to be better with my money. And I say, well, what does that mean? They're like, better, like not worse, like better. I'm like, okay, but for what? Like, where are you trying to go? Okay, where are you trying to go? Where are you now? You have to have a specific goal in mind that you're trying to accomplish with your money, because there's a lot of different things you could be doing with your money. So the way to make a money map First, you got to decide where you're at right now. So what does that mean? That means checking in with your bank accounts. How much do you have in savings? Maybe it's nothing. Hey, maybe you're literally broke right now. So this is the easiest step in the world for you. Congratulations. Check that one off the to-do list. Maybe you've got some student loans. And so you're like, okay, like here's what I have. Here's what I owe to other people. Here's my interest rate on those loans. Knowing the where are you at now, it means checking in with that bank account. I don't know about how many of you like do mobile banking, and every time you load your mobile banking, that second it takes to load, it kind of feels like, come on, big money, big money. Like what's it going to be? Am I going to be rich today? Like I do this all the time, and I know that I'm not rich. I know there's not going to be some huge sum in there, but just go with it for a second, right? So once you know where you're starting from, then you can figure out where you're going. So what are your money goals? Because your money goals are going to be different. There are, how many people on here? There are 309 people on here. There are 309 money goals right now. Not everybody's going to have the same thing. Not everybody's going to have the same thing. So I want you to think for a second. What is it? What's your money goal? Is it saving for something? Somebody already told me that they want to buy a house. Hey, cool, big old goal, right? Big old goal. If you've got a money goal that's either small or big, would you go ahead and type it in the chat right now? I kind of want to see some rapid fire things. I want to be inspired right now. All right. Buy a car, move out, pay for law school. Oh man, you guys got expensive goals, folks. Travel. Oh, I know. Travel. I would go anywhere right now. Anywhere. Like I just want to get on a plane. All right. Travel, travel, travel. Buy a plane. Dude, that's could you take us when you buy the plane? Where are you gonna charter it? Because I would love that. Yeah, apartment, financial freedom. Oh, freedom. Buy a Tesla. Hey, there you go. Little things. MBA. Guys, you know what I love about this? You know what I love about this is I'm seeing a wide range of goals here. I'm seeing small goals, medium goals, and big goals. I feel like when people say, what are your financial goals? You kind of feel pressured to say some like big thing. Doesn't need to be big. It doesn't need to be big, but it does need to be specific. So I'll tell you some of the things that I see, okay? So when I'm talking to ASU students, a common goal I hear, and a lot of you said it, is, I want to be able to move out. Okay, so maybe like you're living with your parents now, or maybe you just want to have your own apartment. Cool. So what that means is saving the deposit and your first month's rent for your first apartment. All right. Now here's the issue. Some people say, oh, I want to move out. I want my apartment. But they don't then put a number on it to say how much it's going to cost. Guys, a money goal is just a fancy little thought unless you put a number on it. How much is that first apartment going to cost? Well, I don't know. What's the rent? What's the security deposit? How much is it going to cost to furnish it? Oh, guys, don't be one of those people that forgets your furniture budget, okay? Then you're going to be like one of my good friends in college who like thought she was all fancy with the fancy apartment and like didn't have a couch to sit on. We literally came over and we're like standing in like the most awkward little get together ever. Like have furniture, budget for that, okay? Other things, let's see. I hear people say they want to pay their student loan interest in school, okay? So maybe you have a subsidized loan, meaning the government is paying your interest while you're in school. But if nobody's paying your interest in school, you can subsidize your own loan. Find out how much interest is accruing every month, pay that off every month so that it's not compounding, so you don't owe a ton of interest when you graduate. Other things I hear people say that they want to start a business. Great. Hey, don't sell yourself short. A business is a fantastic idea, but put a number on it. Put a number on it so that you're saying, my goal is to raise $5,000 to start a business, or my goal is to save $50,000 to start a business. I don't know. Find out what it is so that it can become an actual goal that you're saving for. Yeah, that's right. SMART goals, right? Measurable, actionable, other letters as well, okay? all of those things that we need to make a SMART goal. All right, now listen, folks, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pause right here because this is the last chance. All right, so we've been at this for 15 minutes. It is currently 12:15. This is the last chance to enter for the scholarship. So look at this. Katie is just like link bombing the chat right now. All right, just you want a link, everybody gets a link. It's happening. Make sure you click that. Because when we get to the very end and you're watching some of your friends win $500, you're going to be like, oh, that could have been me. Sad times, okay? All right, so make sure you do it. All right, we're there. Everybody's clicked it. Everybody's done it. And besides, even if you don't win the $500 scholarships, all of you get $5 just for being here today. All right, get $5 to use at Starbucks, which, I mean, I'm just saying can buy almost a grande pumpkin cold brew. You're going to need 13 additional cents. I'm just saying, not that I buy this frequently, but that's what it is. You could downgrade to a tall and it'll cover you completely. But no, I'm not obsessed with it at all. All right, cool. Next tool, okay, guys? Next tool. You also need to manage your money. You need a camera, okay? Why do you need a camera? Well, let me tell you why. You need a camera because sometimes we remember things a little bit differently than maybe it actually happened. Anybody have a relative that kind of exaggerates a little bit? I'm not pointing fingers, but like it's my mom. My mom is mine. Okay. Anybody have a Kate's like my mom. Excellent. You know, it's like, oh, mom, no, tell me how hard your childhood was. No, it gets more difficult every time you tell me. So tell me some more. All right. No, tell it to me again. Okay, I got it. All right. We do this sometimes though with our money, don't we? Don't we kind of smudge it a little bit, like whatever? You know, it's as though you're on your safari and you're like, guys, I saw there was a tiger and he was so big and scary, but I saved him. I saved everybody from the tiger with those scary teeth. And people are like, really? Let me see the picture. Was it really a tiger? You're like, yeah, it totally for yeah. Well, okay. So maybe it wasn't a tiger. It was actually adorable. But look how fierce he looks. Fiercely cute. But right? Because we do this with so it's the same thing with our money. We will say, "Oh, I never go out to eat. Oh, I save a ton of money. I save money all the time. Oh, I never spend money on clothes. Oh, no, gas. No, the car is totally worth it because I spend no money on gas ever. I never spend money on gas. Uber, no. I never spend money on Uber. Okay. Uber Eats, no. I never spend money on Uber Eats ever. Okay, like one time. No, we need the receipts, right? We need to see exactly what it is. All right. So what I want you to think. Let's play a little game right now. Let's play a little game. I want you to think right now. What was the last thing you spent money on? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just think about it. What was the last thing that you spent money? Oh my gosh, look at this chat blowing up right now with food. You are my people, okay? You are my people. Okay, never mind the people who say gas and thing and like practical things. No. The people who are saying food, especially food with lots of O's. Okay, yeah. So you get it. You know how to eat your 10 meals a day like I do. That's fantastic. Okay. But yeah, so I want you to think about it. Think about the last thing you spent money on, and then think if you know exactly how much you spent on that thing in the last 30 days. It's tricky, isn't it? How much did you spend on that thing in the last 30 days? Because look, folks, hey, I am not here to judge your spending habits. Sometimes I feel like people think I am. People think I'm judging. They're like, oh, that money lady, she works for the bank. She's going to judge me. She's going to tell me I shouldn't be buying Starbucks. She's going to tell me I shouldn't. Guys, no. I'm just saying you need to observe what it is you're spending. So if someone came up to me and said, hey, Emily, you know what? I spend $87.50 a month on Dutch Bros coffee. I mean, I'd be like, one, why are you buying coffee from a not amazing place? I know those are fighting words. Sorry, I don't love Dutch Bros. I know Katie's face right now is everything. I see her. Oh, she's drinking it right now. I'm sorry, Katie. Oh, sorry, that made my whole day. But I'm not I'm saying like, hey, you take what you want, all right? You buy what you want. Just know how much it is. That's all I'm saying. Know how much it is. Oh my gosh, that made my whole day. You guys just got to know. All right, so here's my point. Let's look at Veronica. Let's look at a person, because really, guys, we could just play like money therapy in the chat right now. We could play money therapy in the chat and what everybody's thing is that they buy. But let's look at a real situation. Let's look at a real situation. So here's Veronica. She's an in-state psychology major. Okay. Her estimated cost of attendance is $30,000. How is she paying for that? How is she paying for that? 50% scholarships, all right? 50% scholarships, 20% loans, 15% grants, work study, 15%. Right? So this might be similar to what you're doing. This might be not at all similar, but this is Veronica. This is one person, okay? 50% scholarships, 20% loans, 15% grants, 15% work study. So what does that break down to? Well, I looked it up. I looked on the ASU website. So what is that breakdown of that estimated cost of attendance? Well, let's look at it. Tuition is going to eat up the biggest chunk of that, right? Like $10,000-ish, okay? Fees, books, housing, right? All these things are the estimated breakdown of where that money goes. And guys, let me just tell you, if you take one thing from this today, please know what these numbers are, right? Know what your breakdown is. Even if, like, hey, even if you're amazing and you got 100% scholarship, wow, good for you. But you should know how much that scholarship is covering, because it matters, okay? If you know that your scholarship is paying $10,000 for you, it kind of makes you maybe not want to skip class, okay? Because you see, oh wow, $10,000. That's not just some fake number. That's like that's a real chunk of change right now, okay? I see that I kicked off this complete coffee war in the chat, which just warms my heart. I got to tell you, yes, it is National Coffee Day today. 100% intentional, that we definitely didn't just figure that out 30 minutes ago. But yeah, all right, so here's the expenses. Let's look at what that might be for Veronica. Okay, so I looked it up. What would that buy you? Well, that would buy her a shared bedroom in Hacienda Academic Village, right? That would buy her a maroon meal plan. So that means some of her meals are taken care of. Some of them she's got to still pay. She's looking at supplies and travel and personal and extra meals and things like that. I calculated it's about $550 a month that she's got in variable expenses. So now what does that mean? Variable expenses. Well, folks, there's two kinds of expenses. There's things that are fixed and there's things that are variable. So fixed expenses, I mean, that's like tuition, okay? That's like housing. That's like you can't go up to your landlord and be like, hey, landlord, so here's the deal. I'm on a budget now. No, I know. I listened to this really inspiring lady. She was wearing a silly hat. I know. And she told me that I should be on a budget. So I'm just not going to pay you as much rent anymore. Yeah, that's not going to work. That's a fixed expense. You can't do that. Variable expenses, though, are things you are completely in control of. Like you decide whether to get the fancy bread at the grocery store or the not fancy bread at the grocery store, all right? You decide whether you are using your little Chevrolegs today or whether you're popping in an Uber. You are making those variable choices every day. So let's look at what $550 could look like in variable money. Now, this might be very similar to yours. This might not be. So I figured, all right, maybe it's like $200 in groceries. Maybe it's $200 dining out, supplemental to the meal plan. Maybe you've got some supplies. Maybe you've got some transportation. I don't know. Yours might look very different, but I am begging you guys, if you don't have something like this, please get something like this. Remember, folks, so much of money management is just money control. Okay, it's just money control. So you have to know what it is that you're aiming for and then know if you meet it and then adjust for next month. So like, for example, if this was your budget for the month, you tracked your expenses and you found out, gosh, some of these categories I met, but some I didn't. So let's pretend that you tracked your expenses all month. Groceries, my goal was 200. Hey, I actually spent 200. High five, boom. Good job, self. You did it. Dining out. Goal was 200. I actually spent 250. All right. Supplies, did it. Transportation, goal was 50. It actually ended up being 75. Here's now where you have a very important job. And folks, I can't do this for you. Nobody can do this for you because now you've got to decide, why did you go over? Did you go over because you had a bad budget? Like maybe the budget was not realistic. Maybe that number, your goal number, was actually not realistic. And so you need to change it. Maybe it was just that, like, no, it was realistic. You just went over. Okay. You've got to decide. So like, here's what I would do. So I'm thinking, okay, groceries, met it. Okay. Dining out. I went over the goal. Was that because it was a not realistic goal? No, you know what? I think I just maybe went over. I think I just went over. So my new goal, my goal is going to stay at 200. All right. But transportation, gosh, I went over on transportation, but I think that was a bad goal because I don't really know how I could have at all spent less. You know, gas costs what it costs. You know, maybe you live off campus or maybe you work off campus, whatever. So in that case, you might be thinking, all right, my transportation budget has to increase. But guys, that money's not going to come from nowhere. So where are you going to bring it down from? Well, let's go to clothing, right? Can't really go to supplies. You need the supplies. So really the last one left is the clothing budget. So you go down $25. Do you see how this kind of works? Guys, what I just did is modeled a monthly budget process for you because it's a process, folks. A budget is not a thing. If you need to write that down, please write it down. A budget is not a thing. A budget is a process. It's a process because you do this every month. It drives me crazy when people say, oh, I don't need to budget. I already did it. What do you mean you already did it? You set the goal. Did you meet the goal? Then you readjust. Then you set the goal. Then you observe your spending. Then you readjust. It's this constant thing. All right. And I think as long as we change our mindset about that, we can do it. Oh my gosh, look at this chat. It's blowing up with this awesome advice on how to budget. So the question I believe was, you know, what is your favorite budgeting app? So yeah, Mint is a good one. I see Mint being thrown around there. Free, you hook up your bank account. It's a really cool thing. I mean, whatever you decide to use, you want it to just be kind of breaking it into these categories for you and saying, yeah, you know, this much is food, this much is clothes. And if the app doesn't automatically do that for you, you can, you know, put your own little labels in there. Me personally, I'm also an Excel junkie. I mean, I never met a spreadsheet I didn't like. So I like to have it just kind of all in an Excel sheet like that. But really, whatever you choose, as long as you use it consistently, you're going to be fine. Okay. So let's keep looking at Veronica. All right, let's keep looking at Veronica because, hey, life doesn't stop after college. You know what I'm saying? Life doesn't stop after college. So let's look at what she might be making when she graduates. So I looked it up. The average starting salary for a psychology major in Arizona is about $35,000 to $38,000 a year. Okay. So what might that look like? Well, here is her theoretical budget. The reason I'm showing this to you, you might be like, Emily, I'm still in college. I'm still figuring out college. Why are you showing ahead? I'm showing ahead because look, see, she's got that $200-something student loan payment. That's not going to come from nowhere. So if you have a student loan and you're deciding, oh, do I take out extra loans or do I make it work? Gosh, sometimes knowing what that payment's going to be when you graduate can be huge in knowing whether, you know, can I afford this when I get out? Guys, look at that dining out budget, $150. That is not a lot, okay? Rent, let's see what that rent. So she budgeted $550 for rent. Let's look realistically what that might look like. $550 in rent would be sharing this this home that I just randomly found in Tempe with 2 other people. Okay? That's what that would be. So the reason I'm showing you this is to like, okay, here's a realistic picture of what that would buy you. It's not living by yourself, and it's not living in a fancy place. It's three people sharing this moderately sized house. And the reason I'm saying that is because sometimes, oh my gosh, guys, I'll never forget. I was doing this workshop, I don't know, some campus organization, and a student raised their hand and said, well, Emily, I've got it all figured out. Okay. I've got it all figured out. I want a condo in San Diego. I've just always dreamed of being by the beach. And I was just like, oh, I mean, you got like $3.5 million? Because that's amazing if you do. I don't. But I just think it's important to kind of realistically, before you spend 4 years dreaming of what some awesome thing's going to be, or maybe you start looking at those great 3-bedroom rental places in Tempe. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe you're like, no, I'm getting out of Arizona because it's way too hot. I don't know. Cool. So next chunk of things, okay? Next chunk of things. The next thing you need, folks, everybody needs some binoculars. Why do you need binoculars? Here's why you need binoculars, all right? Because sometimes we see things, but we need to look a little closer to be successful. We see things, but we need to look a little closer to see what they actually are. Let's say you're on your safari. Let's say you're on your safari and you're like, oh, Oh my gosh, what's that? It's a snake. It's a snake. It's going to get us. Oh my gosh, look at that. Wait, hold on. Get the binoculars. I got to see. Hold on. It's a. Oh wait, false alarm. Totally not a snake. Not a snake, folks. It's actually just some vines with some flowers. Killer flowers. We're fine. Nobody needs to worry about it. Totally don't need to worry about it. That's what the binoculars do. Where do binoculars come into play with finances? I'll tell you, with people. Okay? Does anybody have that friend, or maybe they're not a friend, the person in your life who always seems to have just a little bit more than you? Do you know what I mean? They always seem to have just a little bit more than you, maybe a little bit nicer stuff, maybe a little bit nicer place that they're living, maybe they buy a little bit more food out to eat all the time, and you can't help but get jealous. Okay, you can't help but just get a little jealous. When you take out those binoculars, you might see that for what it really is. You might see, oh, the only reason they're doing that is because they are drowning in debt, literally drowning in debt. Maybe they have so many things on their credit cards that they're not paying off and they owe a ton in interest. Maybe they have so much, maybe their parents are funding their lifestyle, and then next year when they've got to start doing it themselves, they're going to be one of the people that I see every year that come to me in tears saying, "Oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this. I've never had to manage anything before." Okay? I don't want that to be you guys, all right? You just have to know, look, okay, if you take something from this presentation, it is easy to make it look like you have it all together. Okay? It is easy to make it look like you have it all together. It is a lot harder to actually have it all together. And if this job has taught me anything, oh my gosh, is it that? Because I will have a student come to me and they're just like, in tears because they don't know how they're going to survive next semester, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, but you seem like you just have this all together. What's going on? Right? So you cannot be judging other people. Right? You are on your path. So if you see, like, maybe your path is that you want to start a business, so you are saving as much as you can and you're eating those ramen noodles. All right, you can't judge what other people are doing because they're not on your path. The scenery is different on their path, okay? Because they're not on the start a business path. You are. So don't worry about their path. Only thing you know is where you're starting. The only thing you know is where you're going and your circumstances. So get those binoculars out, all right? Get those binoculars out. Next time you're like, oh, what's that person doing? They're on a different path is what's going on, okay? Let's look at Veronica. Remember, she was living in that, she graduated, she was living in that very modest rental house off campus with 3 people, all right? What if her friend got a luxury apartment, a luxury studio apartment, living on their own, okay? Maybe they got this nicely decorated lobby, they've got like a pool table in there, all right? I mean, just be Veronica for a second. Isn't it like you'd be jealous, okay? I mean, like anybody would. And it's really hard. I feel like sometimes we're ashamed to admit that, like it's some childish thing to be a little jealous of what other people have. No. Don't be ashamed of that. I think we just need to name it. I think we just need to name that feeling, okay? Isn't that the psychology thing, and name it to tame it? I think it's so true. Here, man, I'm feeling jealous of my friend's beautiful place, but you know what? Different path than me, okay? If you live with another person right now, and that person is annoying to you, man, you just wait till you live on your own, okay? And you realize you got to pay that whole electric bill on your own, and you got to pay that whole rent on your own. You'll be begging that annoying friend to come back. You'll be like, oh my gosh, I miss you so much. I miss your money. I mean, your personality. Also your money. Please come back. I can't afford this by myself. My biggest advice to you, live with another person as long as you can stand it, and then one more year. And then you can live on your own. And you'll save so much money. Trust me. All right. Last tool, okay? Here's the last tool. I think this one might actually be my favorite because I think it's so important, and that's the bug spray. Okay, you see it? See my bug spray? The reason you need bug spray is because You know those like little annoying things? Like, you know how one mosquito is right there and you're like, oh, get away, but it's not going to ruin your day. And another mosquito's right there and you're like, ah, get away, but it's not going to ruin your day. Guess what? 200 mosquitoes? They're going to ruin your day, all right? Because it's all these little things. So what are the mosquitoes of personal finance? Well, you know what it is? It's the tiny little marketing tactics and little emotional cues that we see that derail us from our goal. Because look, if you're following all the things right now that we've talked about, you've got your goal, you know your spending categories, you are set. But we all know that that's harder to actually do than it is to say. So here are some of the things that might derail you from your goal. So one of those things is called anchor pricing. So let's just look at this for a second. Let's pretend that let's pretend you're really into shoes. All right, this is hard for me to relate to because I'm actually not, but I know I've been told it's a thing. So let's say you're really into shoes, and so you're looking at these shoes and they're so cute, but they're $100. You're like, ugh. I don't know. I don't know that I can justify that. I can't justify $100 shoes. I don't know. All right. But then you're scrolling, and then you see somewhere else on the site that they have $800 shoes. And you're like, oh, who would do that? $800 shoes. Oh my goodness. Suddenly your $100 shoes feel like a bargain. $800 shoes. No, I'm going to be financially responsible and I am going to buy $100 shoes. Okay, right. But see, here's the issue, guys. This is called anchor pricing. The purpose of the $800 shoes is not for you to actually buy them. The store sells $800 shoes so that you will buy the $100 shoes. I know, I'm turning you into the most cynical consumers. I'm so sorry. But it's true. You just want to be aware of it. I'm not saying, remember, I'm not here to judge you, right? I'm not here to judge your spending. You decide what's your priority and then you spend on that priority. If you have budgeted for the $100 shoes, great. But just know that this is a tactic of comparison that makes your choice seem cheaper, even if it might not necessarily be cheaper. Okay, so you got to bug spray it away. Oh my gosh, I see some serious shoe shaming happening in the chat. You guys are so delightful. Do you know that? I feel so selfish right now because I am getting all this enjoyment of the chat. Like this is, and you have to just listen to me talk for a little bit. This is fantastic. Okay, so what's some other things? What's some other things? Ooh, you know what's really crazy? So just how they put it, just how they talk about prices makes a huge difference. So let's pretend that you are going to sell something for $10-ish. If you call that thing $9.99, that 99 is meant to convey to you that it's a great deal. Super cheap, right? You should totally buy that thing because 99, oh, super cheap. Now, 1 penny more, if you're saying it's $10, 00, that is meant to convey great quality. All right. Isn't that 1 penny amazing? If you've noticed this, you go into fancy stores, you look at fancy websites, which I can't even name any because like I'm not a fancy person. Hello, you've been listening to me talk for the last 40 minutes. You should know that at this point. But you see something in 00, ooh, fancy pants. Now, you look at something that has 2 rando numbers at the end, that is meant to be rock bottom. And you can definitely test this theory, okay? Go to your favorite big box store, check out the clearance, and I promise you, a lot of those prices are like 62, 75, 81, okay? They're all these like rando numbers, and that is meant to signal to you, you better buy this now because it's not getting any cheaper. So again, what does this mean? I'm not saying that this is like bad, okay? But you want to be aware of it. You've got to be aware of it or else it might take advantage of you, all right? So what else do we want to do? Spray it away. So this one, okay guys, this one's personal for me. All right, a lot of these things I gather from other people. This one, I feel it in my soul, okay? So I do a lot of online shopping. And if I see something, like let's say I'm buying sunglasses and they are $15, but the place I'm buying them from has $7 shipping. Heck no. Emily's not paying no $7 shipping. I don't know what you think this is, but I don't pay for shipping. This is ridiculous. Blah, 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 blah. But then I see on the website, oh, $15. Oh, but you know what? Free shipping with a $50 purchase. Guess who is adding some more stuff to her cart? This girl right here, all right? And I know, like, guys, I do these workshops. This is my job, okay, to help people with their money. And yet here I catch myself doing this. That's how strong the psychological thing is. So if you were going to only buy what you're going to buy, you don't need to get up to that threshold, okay? This whole free shipping thing has just become this absolute enigma. It's just become this thing. In fact, you know what I've started doing, and this might actually be helpful to a lot of you, the online shopping thing, I've started just not saving my payment information at all. Like, you know how, like, if you're on target.com, like, you can auto save your information and then just like one click buy. I don't do that anymore because it was getting too tempting. Or other things, like sometimes, I don't know if there's any other Amazon addicts on this Zoom call right now. I don't know if you've ever had this experience where, I don't know, maybe you've got some insomnia, and so you like order something at 2 in the morning, okay? And then it shows up at your house 2 days later, and you're like, oh yeah, what was that thing? You know, did I even need that? I didn't even need that thing. Oh, that's right. I was feeling emotional in that moment, and I thought that this thing was going to fill that, but it didn't. I actually just needed to think about buying it, okay? So I've instituted another rule, okay? I put something in the cart, and I have to let it sit there for 24 hours. I have to let it sit there, because if I was not already planning to buy it, I've got to let it sit there for 24 hours and then decide, all right, do I actually need this thing? Maybe I don't. Hey, guys, maybe you don't need to be buying anything at all, okay? Maybe you're trading with your friends. Maybe you're like, oh, hey, you know what? You want to do like a wardrobe swap? I don't really want this right now. Maybe you're like, I'm going to learn to cook. I don't even want to go out to eat. Maybe you're looking for how to do things cheaper. Anyway, guys, all these things, the basic overarching concept is, do I need this thing right now? If I do need it, how can I get it cheaply? And if I'm going to get it cheaply, how do I make it part of my budget? That's all it is. It's all this. See, that's the theme of this whole thing, is observing what you spend, setting realistic goals in different categories so that you are very aware of everything that's happening. So much of money management is actually just money awareness. Isn't that fascinating? So much of money management is actually money awareness, an awareness of what you're spending, an awareness of, is my priority lining up with what I'm spending? And if you have that awareness, oh my gosh, I mean, you're halfway there. You've done the hard part. That's pretty cool. All right, last thing. Oh man, this is another doozy. I'm not gonna lie, folks. This is a big one for me. Impulse buys. Okay, I want you to think of the last thing, something less than $5, okay? Less than $5 that you know you're tempted with, okay? You just know you're tempted with. Like, maybe it's if you're in a store, maybe it's if you see something online, maybe it's an online thing, maybe it's something you add to your like grocery cart, okay? Something less than $5 that you're just like, okay, whatever. Okay, whatever. Mine, I'll tell you right now, I know exactly what it is. I don't even have to think about it, okay? It is peanut M&Ms. I I love peanut M&Ms more than like somebody should love peanut M&Ms. Okay, we have a very unhealthy codependent relationship happening. And so when I see like a package of peanut M&Ms, like there's no even thought there. It's just like, well, I own this now. Okay, like I have to buy this because it would just make my life so happy. All right, impulse buy. Now, I'm not saying don't buy the peanut M&Ms. I'm just saying make it part of your budget. So I see a lot of you have like little oh my gosh, hot Cheetos. Oh, guys, that just triggered something for me. Okay. So I used to, back in the day, I was an elementary school teacher. I know that shocks you. But my kids would come in and they loved hot Cheetos. And I have this image of all these little second graders with these red hands, and they'd all want to say, oh, hi, Mrs. Short's going to give you a hug with all these red hot Cheetos. So yeah, I'm not a hot Cheeto fan for that reason, because I have PTSD with the hot Cheetos. But anyway, I had to share that with you. Yeah, so you guys all get it. You're all sharing these same things, okay? But the problem with impulse buys is the mental conversation that happens, the mental justification that happens. So I'm going to share with you my mental justification, because sometimes it's easier to see other people's mental justification and be like, oh, wait a second, maybe that's not a thing. So another thing to be careful of with impulse buys is bins. Anything in a bin, folks. You got to be wary of that, all right? So Target dollar bin, sorry, okay, but I got to call you out. So this was Emily's interior monologue in the Target dollar bin, right? So first I saw that sign and I was like, oh, that's such a happy sign. Look at those happy pastel colors. You know, this has just been such a depressing year, what with the pandemic and what with the everything. And if I had that sign, like I would see it, it would be this bright, shiny ray of happiness in my day. And maybe it would just turn my whole day around. And like all just because of that $2.50 sign, that would be pretty cool. Then I saw these little bins and I was like, you know, I'm kind of disorganized. My desk is a disaster. Like there's a reason I've got this background up right now. All right. But those bins, man, if I had to, maybe I just haven't had the right bins yet. Maybe I just, if my like pens were in there and I had my other stuff in here, it'd be beautiful. And then the pineapple, guys, I don't even have a really good thing for the pineapple. I've got this quirk where I like to eat things out of a receptacle that looks like the thing that I'm eating. Okay. So you might not think that's a category, but it totally is a category. Like if I had an ice cream sundae out of a bowl that looks like ice cream, that's like the happiest little thing you could do for me, okay? So when I saw that pineapple bowl, I'm like, oh, I could put some pineapple in there and it'd be so cute. Now you're listening to me right now. Any like little shred of respect you had for me going into the Zoom call has now plummeted, and I feel that, and that is fine, okay? But the reason that I'm telling you this is because you all have that monologue, all of you. Everybody has that interior monologue. Right now you're thinking, I thought it was just me. But hearing somebody else's sometimes makes you realize, oh, wait a second. You know what? Maybe I'm just justifying this right now. Maybe I don't really need it. Or maybe if you're obsessed with the Target dollar spot, maybe you're saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to put a line item in my budget for it. Wouldn't that be the coolest thing? Line item, Target dollar spot, $10 a month, and I'm going to buy whatever silly thing because it's in my budget and it doesn't matter. And that way, oh man, wouldn't this be so cool? Anybody ever judge your spending choices? Like, let's just put that out there. Anybody have a family member or a friend and they're like, why are you wasting money on that stupid thing? And like you get all defensive. Watch this. Next time they say that, you can say, oh, actually, if you look at my budget, I just happen to have a copy right here. It's a line item. I actually have $15 set aside for this little category of things. So it's actually not an unplanned expense. It is very planned and part of my meticulously planned budget. So next time you want to criticize my spending, we can all just look at this pretty little thing. Mic drop. Are you kidding me? That's the kind of awareness that you need in your spending. By the by, I'm going to put my email up here in a second. If that ever happens to you, please let me know. Like if you're ever to drop that mic in that moment, it would just make me so happy. All right. So now you guys have all been kind of doing this in the chat already, but I want you to be thinking, like if Veronica, if our fake person was your friend, how would you help her? Right? How do you manage your money? So like some of you have already been putting in that you use, you know, an app. Some of you have already been saying that you do what I was saying, you log out of things. Do I really need it? Any other thing that that you want to put in the chat right now that you concretely do to help manage your money? Let's see. I see some yeah, budgeting, using Mint, all this stuff. Oh man, yeah, you guys are totally a money jar, absolutely. Stay away from it. Yeah, oh my gosh, guys, I had a friend once tell me that she was just like, well, Emily, you know you don't have to go in the store, right? Because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm spending too much money at TJ Maxx. And she's like, you could just not go in there. And I was like offended. I'm like, I'm sorry, like what option is that? That's crazy. You know, that's not a crazy thing we're talking about. Yeah. Oh, the best thing. Oh my gosh, guys. So the best money saving thing I've ever heard, one of my friends said, oh yeah, I just pay myself to watch trash TV. And I was like, what? And she's like, oh, I love The Bachelor, but I know it's probably not like the most like mentally stimulating piece of entertainment I could be watching. So every time I watch The Bachelor, I put $10 in my savings account. And I was like, that's like the most genius thing I've ever heard anybody say ever. So it's all a mental thing, guys. You know, you got to have those little mental games like that. Money is more about the mind than the math. Money is more about the mind than the math. We talk about money like it's a math problem, but I've never met the person who was like, "Oh man, I'd be so much better at budgeting, but subtraction's hard for me." Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a psychology class, and I feel like we need to treat it as such. How else do we treat things that are psychology issues? We have a mantra. You know, you got to have that simple thing that you tell yourself over and over. So this is the one that I use, and I'd like to give it all to you. Okay. Budget before buying. The BBB philosophy. Budget before buying. All that means is before I make a spending decision, I'm going to take all of the costs of that decision into consideration. So I'm truly weighing apples to apples and not just kind of making an emotional decision. And guys, I don't just mean like whether you get Chipotle or not. No, 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 no. I mean like big things too. What are you taking out in student loans? Okay. Your housing situation, all these things. I would hate for you to leave this and think, oh yeah, that lady just said, watch out about going out for coffee. That's not what I'm saying. This whole stuff applies to little things and big things. Budget before buying is a global money philosophy that you want to have in your mind. And finally, my closing point, folks, is we have to be okay talking about it too. You know what my favorite part of this last hour has been? It's been the chat. It's been the chat because here I am talking. Folks, I'm just a facilitator. I'm the instigator, okay? My job was to get you talking about money. And if you scroll through this chat, you guys are the real stars of this show because you're throwing out your ideas. You're saying, yeah, hey, I have that problem. Oh my gosh, I have that problem. And this, and blah, 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 blah. That is what we need more of, folks. That's what we need more of. Money is like the last taboo topic we have. People are afraid to admit that they have a money issue or they don't understand things. Guys, make money something you talk about. All right. Here's some sample conversation starters if you need it. Oh man, hold on. My computer's crashing. Well, you know what? Hold on. Hold on. We're just gonna stop this share. Okay. Look, the whole point is, guys, make it something you talk about. Okay. Make money something you talk about. It's not a difficult thing. It's an empowering thing. And if that's what comes out of here, today is that you are the one who brings up money with a friend after this, I would be so happy. I truly would. All right. Congratulations. You made it to the end. So now I'm going to kick it back to Brandon. Okay. I'm going to kick it back to Brandon, and Brandon has what you have all been waiting for, the winners of the scholarships. All right. So let's hear it. Well, who do you got for us, Brandon?
All right, before we do that, everyone give a virtual round of applause to Dr. Emily Schwartz and MidFirst Bank for a fantastic thing. Before we do the raffle, we do want to do just a couple of quick announcements before we get into it, because after the raffle, we know that you're probably going to duck out and make it to your next thing. But if you liked the conversation that we had today, if you like the candid conversation and the helpful tips and the different ways to do that, we want to continue these conversations about money with you. So we invite you to our VIP Student Success Series event, Show Me the Money. You will hear a lot about this from your success coaches in the next couple of weeks. That's going to be on October 21st. So even if you don't walk away with one of our prizes today, there are other ways that we can help you and continue the conversation about scholarships. So that's something that we want to do. We'll also drop this link for giving us feedback in the chat so that you can give feedback to Dr. Emily Schwartz and give feedback on how you felt about the event today. We know you gave us a lot of great feedback in the chat. Feel free to put this in our survey as well. And with that,